For a lot of first-time flyers, going through airport security is the part they are most nervous about. And understandably, you're walking into an area with uniforms, scanners, bins flying everywhere, and it feels like everyone knows exactly what they're doing except you. And you're just standing there thinking, am I doing this right? Well, today I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens at airport security, step by step, so you know exactly what to expect, what to do, and why it's actually much simpler than it looks. Let's go.
Dream vacations start here.
The first thing you need to know before you go through security is which security line you'll need to go through. Depending on the airport, you could have anywhere between 2 to 4 different security lines. This would include general security lines, TSA PreCheck, Clear, and something that has just started rolling out at select airports is a dedicated family security line. As a first-time flyer, you will in most cases just use the general screening lines. This unfortunately is also going to be the longest line, but if you want to invest some money to be able to get through security quicker, then signing up for either TSA PreCheck or Clear is going to be the best way to go, but more on those programs later. Once you know which security line you need to be in, the next step is to have your ID and boarding pass ready. At most airports, all you'll need is your ID, but if you're traveling with kids under 18, you'll need to have their boarding passes ready to present to the TSA officer. The most common IDs to get through airport security would be a driver's license or a passport. The most important thing to know is that your ID has to be what's called Real ID compliant. A passport is already Real ID compliant, but your driver's license needs to have a star in the upper right-hand corner of your license, which would indicate that your ID meets the standard. If your driver's license does not have a star, then you can enroll for a state-issued Real ID through your state's DMV office. If you happen to show up at the airport without the proper ID, then you'll have the option to pay a $45 fee for the TSA to try and verify your identity so you can start the security screening process. Also, if you happen to have an expired license, the TSA will accept it as long as it hasn't been expired for more than 2 years. Once you hand over your ID to the TSA officer, they will scan your ID and will check that your name matches your ticket. And that's it. No trick questions, no interrogation, and no asking you to explain your entire vacation itinerary. They just verify that you are who you say you are and that you're supposed to be there. Once the TSA has verified your ID, you'll next move to the conveyor belt area where you'll place your belongings into bins. This is the part where it suddenly feels like everyone turns into a professional unpacker. Here's what typically goes into the bins. Any electronics larger than your cell phone, that would typically be laptops and tablets. If you're carrying a backpack or a purse, that would need to go in a bin. But if you're carrying on luggage, that can typically just go on the belt as they're usually too big to fit in the bin. If you're wearing a jacket, a hoodie, or a belt, those will need to go in the bin as well. And then anything in your pockets will need to be taken out. I like to place my cell phone and wallet in my backpack so they're not just lying in the bin by themselves. And then lastly would be your liquids bag if you have one. Let me explain what this is. The TSA follows what's called the 311 liquids rule. And this is one of the most common things first-time flyers worry about. So the rule is that for all liquids that you plan to carry, either in your carry-on bag or backpack or purse, have to be in 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliter travel size containers or less that all must fit in one quart size bag. And each passenger is allowed one bag. This includes things like toothpaste, shampoo, lotion, sunscreen. If something is too large, the TSA will simply ask you to throw it away. They're not angry, they're not judging your shampoo choices, they're just enforcing the rules. If you want to bring larger quantities of liquids, then you can pack them in a check bag without restriction. The exception is if you're carrying medically necessary medication, in which case you would be allowed to carry more than the limit. You would just have to notify the TSA that you have them. Once all your items are on the conveyor belt, it'll go through an X-ray scanner to be scanned, and then you'll walk through either a metal detector or a body scanner. An officer will tell you exactly what you need to do. Usually it's something like step forward, raise your arms, and stand still. The scanner takes about 3 seconds to complete. You're not being exposed to anything dangerous. It's quick, safe, and routine. And yes, everyone feels slightly awkward the first time. That's normal. After you walk through, you'll collect your items on the other side. This is the part where people suddenly forget how backpacks work and start stuffing things in randomly. Take your time, move to decide if you need to reorganize. There's no rush. Just make sure you don't leave anything behind, especially your phone, passport, or your dignity. So what happens if you or your bag gets flagged? Well, if you get flagged at the body scanner, it usually means you either forgot to empty your pockets or take off a belt or something in the clothes you're wearing is triggering the alarm. Or if you have a prosthetic or any other metal part in your body from a previous injury, that could also trigger an alarm, in which case you should tell the TSA agent before you get scanned so they can screen you a different way. If you do get flagged, you will most likely be subject to a pat-down, which is all the more reason to double check that you didn't leave anything on you that could trigger an alarm. If your bag gets flagged, it does not necessarily mean you did anything wrong. It usually happens because you stacked electronics or other items on top of each other in the bins, which make it difficult for the TSA agents to see on the X-ray. Or there's an item in your bag they can't easily identify. When this happens, an officer will simply open your bag and take a look. It's quick, normal, and happens all the time. Once you and your bag clear security, you're then free to head to your gate. Here's what I want you to remember most. TSA officers are not expecting perfection. They see thousands of travelers every single day, including first-time flyers. If you're unsure about something, you can ask. The entire process usually takes just a few minutes, and once you're through security, the hardest part is over. Now, if you want an easier time getting through security, then there are a couple of other programs that you can sign up for. The first one is TSA PreCheck. This is a trusted traveler program through the TSA that allow you to go through the shorter and faster TSA PreCheck lines at security. The benefits of the program are that you'll usually wait less than 10 minutes to go through security, and you won't need to take off any belts or take anything out of your bag. Plus, you can skip going through the body scanners and just go through a metal detector. The cost is about $85 and is good for 5 years. The other program is called Clear. Clear also has a dedicated line at security, and basically you verify yourself at a Clear kiosk with facial recognition, and then a Clear representative will escort you to the front of the security line. However, you still have to go through the regular security screening unless you also have TSA PreCheck. In my opinion, getting Clear doesn't necessarily save you that much time, since I could usually get through security in less than 10 minutes with just TSA PreCheck. But if you want the ultimate hassle-free experience, sign up for both programs. Another thing I would recommend doing is to download the My TSA app. It'll give you wait times to get through security in real time, as well as look up items to see if it'll be allowed through airport security. And if you have questions or just unsure about an item you want to bring, you can message the TSA directly to get a clear answer. Airport security feels intimidating because it's unfamiliar, not because it's impossible. Once you go through it once, you realize it's just another step in the travel process. If you found this video helpful, check out this video where I answer your top airport security questions, and then let me know in the comments what part of flying makes you the most nervous. Thank you so much for watching, and safe travels.